Hello and welcome everyone to this very special edition of the English for Success podcast. We have an extremely interesting guest here today that I'm delighted to have, and I think you're all going to get a big benefit from listening to what this man has to say here today. So before we bring him in, I know he's here on the screen already, but before we bring him in, I just want to tell you a little bit about what he does. His name is Chate. And Chate has a digital agency which is called So Idea, and they're based in Thailand, in Bangkok. And So Idea is a digital creative agency. I just pulled this from their website before we started the podcast here today. So maybe Chet will be able to give us some clarification if I get anything wrong here. But we can see here that they connect your goal to the right audience. So that's what they do. Maybe Chet can expand on that. And they're very successful. They have partnered with, or they have clients from some of the biggest companies in Thailand. I think I see Krispy Kreme there and SEG, some very big companies there. And also something that caught my eye when I first met Chet was they are partners with Facebook, a Facebook agency partner, Google partner, Line Ads partner. For those of you who don't know, Line is the main communication app in Thailand, as far as I can see. It's WhatsApp, I think, is more in Europe, but Line is definitely the main one here. And Twitter ads and YouTube as well. So that is just a very quick introduction to Chate here, but I would like to quickly get Chate himself in and just say very welcome to you. Thank you very much for joining us and sharing your story here today. And maybe let's get started with giving you the opportunity to speak. Yeah, Chate, if you'd like to tell us a little bit about who you are and your journey, and maybe specifically, you're a non-native English speaker. Most of our audience are non-native English speakers as well. So you've been successful speaking English and also being an entrepreneur. So maybe you can give us a little bit of your background and how you overcame any of the obstacles as a non-native English speaker to get to where you are today.
Right. Okay, sure. And thanks for having me here. So I think this is quite new for me, and for having an session for English professional like you as well, and also glad to have a chance to share some of my experience to our non-native English speaker, right? And as just mentioned about my background, just briefly about my background is I actually before I jump into this digital industry, actually I just graduate in industrial design industry. So that's
industrial design. Okay.
Yeah, so it's more on a creative side, and then product design, and then you design the furniture, design cars, or even a mobile phone. But somehow my own interest in order to pursue some advertising industry. So that's why I think that, okay, hey, why not? We just go to study somewhere interesting in media or advertising field. So that's where I start, and then I start to study in UK for my master degree.
Where
after
in UK?
In Leeds.
Okay.
Yeah, so I study MA, I think MA in marketing and advertising. Yeah, somehow. And then, it's good start. After that, I trying to learn here and there by myself in the internet marketing courses. Like, okay, that's quite a good start for me to get into this area. And then at that moment, I still remember that my English is not really well. I mean, even we go there, study abroad, and then we have a chance to talk with native speaker in UK. Especially you have like UK accent, right? You have English
Right.
accent, British accent, yeah. And somehow you need to learn the difference between British and American wordings as well. So that's
So would you say
something
in Thailand it's more, you would have got more American
more
kind of
American. I
background?
can tell. Yeah, I can tell you more American. Even we have like the school with British British course that teach us, but I think it's still hard for Thai speaker to learn how to speak in British accent or words, right? So yeah, that's how it start. Where I think that okay, we need to improve our English. Then after a few years of my master degree here in master degree there in Leeds, I went here and there between Leeds and London as well, and then go travel around UK. Also have a chance to go to Edinburgh, which their accent is super hard to understand. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, after graduate there, and then I come back here to start after study there, and then come back to Thailand. My first company that I worked with, it's more an international company. So it's the agency here as well, based in Bangkok. And my very first client that I taking care of is Accor Hotel, which is, as you might already see in my client list on So Idea. So basically,
What's the name? Vicious?
Accor Hotels.
Accor Hotels. Okay.
Correct. So actually, Accor Hotel is, I can tell that one of my first international client that I taking care.
That's a big company, right?
That's a big company, right? It's the hospitality company, French. Yeah.
And so they have numerous hotels under their name of Accor Hotels.
Correct, like Sofitel, Novotel, Ibis, and some other brands. Yeah, other brands.
Okay,
And
big client.
so I think that's where I start. I think I improving my own language skill from my working experience, writing emails or even phone calls. I mean, that's quite a good experience for me to learn English. Also, because if I go back to the story when I study in UK, because there's so many Thai friends there, so that's why sometimes we don't have much chance to speak English because we stick together at some point, right? So one recommendation for me, if any students or any profession that you want to study abroad, trying to make some new friend, I mean foreign friend, not your Thai friends or your countries. Yeah, right. That's
I've heard that a lot. A lot of people, when they go, they spend a year or even go to university and they stay. I even have some clients who they have lived in the UK for 10 years, but they all stay in their own network of their own nationality. Right. Yeah, it's a common thing.
Yeah, and sometimes you miss a chance to explore new friends as well, not just your practicing new language, right? Yeah,
that's great. That's very important advice you're giving there, Chate. I think it's coming down to going to your experience in the UK, and also when you started working with Accor Hotels, it seems to be a common thread is experience, right? Experience using the language. And when you started working with your first client, it was experience on the phone, experience writing emails. That made a big difference for you.
Right. I mean, it's when you think back, it's very fun experience because in some professional email, emailing, when you need to write email to someone, it's not just writing email like we talking right now, right?
Yeah,
You need
it's quite
to
different.
be careful on the wordings, and then also you need to think ahead, because emailing is different from chat. So you might need to think ahead on how to write, and not to just come back and forth on like too many emails, right?
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah,
Do you ever use any tools like ChatGPT or are you still writing emails these days?
I mean, ChatGPT is great tools for everyone to also learning English. I can tell. Yeah, even myself, sometimes I can confess that sometimes I also use ChatGPT. Now it's like GPT-4, right? And it's way better than the past. I use it,
Yeah.
and but again, I think that for ChatGPT is more like a leverage tool for professional. It's not 100% correct if you
No.
use it. So you also need to adjust all some context of your industry, or your conversation still.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. You can still it's a tool, right? Like so many other things, you can get it to help you to put together or proofread your email, but you need to manage it. You need to put your style, or you need to,
Correct. But it's really good, and then very fast.
it's powerful, especially for writing, I think.
Especially for writing. Yeah, sure.
Great. So you came to Thailand, you started it. So how did you transition then from working in the agency to working for yourself?
It's not from agency to my own business, but it's from agency, and then luckily I think that Echo Hotel is my first client that I taking care, and I think maybe I doing pretty good job for them, so that's why they invite me to join them like a couple years later.
Okay.
I work for my client as well after I work in an agency for another few years. And after I joined Echo Hotel as a digital marketing manager in Southeast Asia here that I taking care for, then I decide somehow to also start my own business, along with do some startup business as well. Another startup business I didn't mention here, and I didn't tell you about this story before, but I mean it's a good journey. However,
Okay.
Aquaculture is my first client after I left the company, because we found that there are an area that I can do very well for them. So that's why after I left the company, then I took care of social media area for Echo Hotel, and Echo Hotel is my first client from then.
Okay. So you focused mainly on social media in that marketing campaign.
Right,
Okay.
for them, right, and
Okay.
so that's where it started.
So maybe we can jump into a little bit into that then. If we could pick your brain about some tips for social media and things like that. There are a couple of things that I wanted to ask you about here, and I'm sure people in our audience, social media marketing is huge potential for anyone who wants to grow their business at the moment. And now that we have you here today, I know we had a chat in Bangkok a few days ago, and you gave me something to think about. So a couple of things I'd like to just maybe get your professional opinion on. First of all, one of the big things at the moment is obviously video content. So I was wondering if you could give any tips to our audience about creating engaging, compelling video content. What would you say?
I think video content is coming for sure, and especially if you can see the different platform like YouTube, or TikTok that now is so popular. But what I can just give you some recommendations here is just you can find your business objective first and trying to see if who is your audience and whether they want to watch a long form video or a short form video.
Okay.
So that's
I'm making notes here as well.
okay. It's actually the first start, because now you can see that many people, they watch short form video like TikTok. I mean, almost every day in some person, and YouTube, Facebook, or IG, they're trying to add more short form video features like reels or story.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or shorts.
So shorts, yeah, you can tell. Yeah. So those are some new area that you can tap in and reach your potential audience, because from what I spoke with Facebook in Singapore, some guy in Singapore, and then she shared with me that the figure of user who saw Facebook story is actually now more than Facebook feeds already.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you might
Interesting.
consider to creating short form of video content, and maybe you need to personalize the format by do the production in vertical video, not like horizontal video. That's the
Okay.
basic you might start from.
That's really interesting, and that's surprising as well. People are seeing more stories on Facebook than they are their news feed. That's very surprising. That's good insider knowledge to share.
I think that it's also because of it's the top of the feeds, right? It's on the top of the feeds, so that's why people
there.
Yeah, and it's always there, so that's why people watch it first, at least couple stories, right?
Right. Yeah. Before they go down the feed. Right.
Right.
So your key there, let me just summarize that for everyone, is to get started, you need to really get clear about your objective and then your audience, so you know who you're talking to, and then you decide what type of content, and veer towards horizontal, vertical rather than horizontal.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Thank you very much for that, Chate. And then if we move on to, I don't know if that's contained already in the video, but if people are putting out content, they have an audience, they have a following, do you have any suggestions about how, and maybe even especially non-native English speakers, would engage with their audience to develop this following and kind of reach their goals? Do you have any pointers about that?
So non-native English speakers, so I think that might need to talking about your product or your services, and also the area that your audience lives or stays. Well, I think that somehow let's take Facebook as an example. I think somehow when you setting all the target audience in order to engage with your potential customer on social media, languages also align with the user interface of the mobile device. So let's take example like I using Facebook apps in Thai, and you using Facebook app in English.
All right.
So what I'm doing right now, probably one brand, they want to advertise to Thai users. I mean, purely Thai user that they're not native English. So they can also specific whether you are using only Thai interface users.
Okay. So, and is this specifically about ads?
This is specific about ads. Yeah. Right.
Okay, right.
Okay.
So
So
you can,
that's just an example on how to engage with your audience specifically that they might not be native English speakers, for
okay,
example.
interesting. Right,
Hmm.
good. Okay, thank you
There's
for
so
that.
many ways. This is just one of them. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and we have limited time with you today. I'm sure we could be here for hours. I'm sure you could give us lots more, but that's interesting. Thank you for that. And then I suppose, so, since we're speaking about non-native English speakers and English learners and people who want to improve their English skills, do you have any suggestions for English learners of how they can develop their communication skills using, let's say, social media, for example?
I think social media is a good way for you to learn English and communication skills, but for it will be for reading and writing,
Okay,
because for speaking still you might need to have like some other platform. uh, do you know, sometimes myself I also repeated the script on the movie in Netflix.
okay,
That
yes,
also helps. Yeah, I mean it sounds funny, yeah? But I think it's sometimes it helps you to remember those phrases or sentences.
absolutely. Use it or lose it, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's movie helps. I can tell as well.
Yeah,
Movie,
it does.
yeah, helps.
I think
Yeah,
there are lots of, sorry, you weren't finished.
it's okay. Yeah, I think movies also give you some context about those
Yeah.
sentence or paragraphs, so it's easy for you to also engage on that communication situation, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Context is key. It's the way the
yeah,
brain learns a language, right? That's one of
right,
the big
right,
things that's missing from those grammar books and things that they use in school, right? When you get it in
correct,
context,
correct,
part of a story, then
right,
your brain remembers it. Yeah, that's great. And it's a good point as well. It's a reading and writing on social media, probably more than communication skills.
right. And I mean, ChatGPT is another good tool that you can also ask them to do or write something for you, and then you also can learn from what they just give you an answer.
Yes, exactly. And I came across an idea the other day that really, because I think ChatGPT, something my father said a long time ago when we were first using the internet. He got addicted. I was in university and I used to come home and he'd be sitting on the computer in his dressing gown all day long and he just, wow, I can't believe it. And he said, there's only one limitation to this internet, and it's your own imagination. And I think
Mm.
the same thing applies to ChatGPT. I think that's why they've released it on the world, because as we interact with it, it gets more intelligent, gets more dynamic. And
Indeed.
as we play with it, we learn how we can use it. And the idea I got the other day was that if you can tell ChatGPT to act in a certain way, maybe you could say, today you're my English coach, act as an expert English coach, tell me blah blah blah. But you can actually tell ChatGPT to ask you the right questions so it can do the job correctly. So what do you need to know about me to give me exactly what I want? And then ChatGPT could
Exactly.
give you 10 questions. It's powerful. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Indeed. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, so then let's just do two more. I know I don't want to take too much of your time here today, Chip, because I know you're a busy man. And congratulations, by the way. I believe you're about to have a baby as well
Yeah.
in
Thank
the
you.
next few days. Is that right?
2 days. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm thrilled.
okay. That's why we had to get you on today, because if we didn't get you on, then we could it'll be months before we'll see your face again.
Yeah.
So before we get some final advice from you, maybe something, because in this online world of digital marketing and social media marketing, things are changing quite quickly. Things are, especially talking about Chat GPT. So Do you have any advice about any current trends that are happening that people should know about or people should latch onto now when using social media?
I think for social media, sometimes some person already use. Let's take TikTok. Many people already use TikTok as the searching platform. So
Okay, interesting.
usually when you looking for, say, nice Japanese restaurant in Sukhumvit here,
Mm,
you go to Google, right?
right.
But now the many Gen Z, they're using TikTok to search for that question.
That's
But
very important.
right. But I think it might be a different approach, but still is the I mean it's the behavior of new generations that they want to find some new experience or new thing that they don't think the existing or the I can tell is the old format of the internet might not give to them.
Mm,
So then I think they change on this kind of behavior. So searching platform, it just a little fragment to some other platform. It's not just Google search engine or
yeah.
not other search engine. Yeah.
So I suppose then it's important for people to realize this when they're creating content. They need to be thinking about creating searchable content, things that may
Searchable
show up when
content
they're
is also the key as
okay.
well. Exactly.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. And I can see where it's coming from as well. I can imagine, like you said, Gen Z guys, that instead of going to Google the old-fashioned way, they're going, if they search in TikTok, they're going to get information, videos from their peers or from people that they associate with, the people they can
Right.
relate to.
Right.
That's really
They can
interesting.
see the short form video in just seconds, and then they can understand and engage how delicious it looks in the video. So making sure that
Mm,
you do pretty job for your production as well.
okay, another good point. And it's
Yeah.
because it's short, it really has to be high impact as well, doesn't it? There's the way we're
Correct.
consuming
Correct.
content has really changed.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, very, very good advice. Another golden nugget. Thank you for that, Chet. And as we're about to run, well, we've gone well over time. Today we were going to try and chat for 10 to 15 minutes. We're almost at half an hour now. So I'd love to keep you here for the next 2 hours, but let's just finish on two things. First of all, well, I'll remind you after you do this, but I'd like you to tell us a little bit about anyone who is who's watching and maybe that would like to reach out, would like to get your professional help with a campaign or something like that, maybe some way that they could contact you, or and before you do that, maybe just a final little bit of advice for people out there who are looking to get into the same industry as you, looking to follow your path to become, a social media marketer or a digital marketer, or even just to improve their English skills. Any final advice you'd like to give our audience before you talk about how they can contact you?
Sure. Yeah. I think that you guys can go to, of course, my website that soidea.co. It's just .co.
.co. I saw
Yes.
that. Yeah. What is that? I'll write it here for them to see it. So idea.
.co.
.co.
Yeah. So it is actually it's abbreviation from social idea. So that's where it came from, and .co I think is just to be frank with you is just because .com is so expensive. So that's why we use .co. I'm kidding.
Okay. Okay.
It's yeah. I mean it's more on new business side that they're using this type of domain name. You might see .co, .io, .ai, right?
Okay.
Those are more new business type that they tend to use this kind of website domain. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And for my recommendation to non-native speakers who pursue to work in this domain area, I think that first of all, of course, you need to be social savvy people first. At least you need to know how to create content on TikTok or Facebook or IG, and then how to find nice restaurant on TikTok, for example, right? And also there are so many areas that you can learn, like paid advertising area, that it's actually the first start for those job starter. And Google is good platform to start to learn, because it's actually a very first platform that they implement good business model for paid search. So that might be the case that you also start there first as well. And for some other recommend for me, I think trying to write more, especially also emails. I think that helps a lot, because when you write down something, you also read it, and then you're trying to understand the context of your conversation, right? So that may be
Okay.
the starting point as well. Working in international companies helps for sure, because you need to communicate with some other people, which is not just Thai native or else. And yeah, so that is my quick recommendation for today. Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Experience again. It's coming back again. Get experience.
Right.
I think, especially in Thailand, you know, a lot of people, I have a lot of experience with people in Thailand who want to improve their English. And the biggest problem I see in Thailand is people are afraid to speak out, are afraid to get that experience that they need,
Yeah.
because they're
Right.
afraid to make a mistake, right? So
Right.
you're obviously not, you got out of your comfort zone. You went to Leeds, you went to university, maybe you were surrounded by Thai people, but I'm sure you got a lot of experience while you were there. And when you came back with your business or with the agency, you got that experience, and
Right.
you can
Right.
see it. You've done extremely well, and in business and with your English as well, and you should be proud of that.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope
Yeah.
that I can help some non-native English speakers who listen for this podcast.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. We really appreciate it. You taking your time out of your extremely busy schedule to do this, to help people out. It's much appreciated. And as Chate said, so I have written that correctly there. So idea.co, is that correct on the screen?
Correct.
See
Correct.
that?
That's correct. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so if anyone wants to contact Chate or work with Chate or get some professional help, that's where you can find him. And once again, thank you very much, Chet, for joining us here today. It's been a real pleasure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very fruitful
Great.
conversation. Yeah. Thank you.
Sorry?
Very fruitful conversation. Thank you.
Very fruitful conversation. I agree 100%. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So that's it for English for Success podcast, this extended episode. Thank you again, Chet. All of you out there, the key takeaway here is, I believe, go out there and get experience. And that's what you are the only person holding you back. We have all the tools available to us. The most important thing is to go out there, get out of your comfort zone, get experience, and create the life of your dreams.